Today we're going to take a look at a posture called sleeves dancing like plum blossoms. This is the name given to it from the Tai Chi form, though we do see it a lot in the Bagua system as well, but we see it in lots of different variations. The idea of it is to lift the energy both internally and physically. Posture itself is really good for building that athleticism and all the other aspects of fitness. I'm going to start with the weight on the back leg, which is going to be my right leg, and I'm going to face towards the left. So the hands start out in front of the body. Okay, so first we're going to take a look at the feet and what the feet do. So you're going to need to learn this both ways, both to the left and to the right. So you're going to start with the weight on your right leg. The left leg should be pretty much empty. Now, as we transfer the weight forwards, you're going to pick up your back leg and turn towards the back. So you're going to lift the knee, and that should start to raise your center of gravity. Without using the arms, I'm going to step, spin, land, and land. So I'm doing a full 360 traveling over to the left. In order to make this slightly easier, I'm going to set my left foot slightly inward, which means that as I begin to turn, that's going to allow a bit more mobility in my hip. So from this position here, I'm going to turn that foot in. I'm going to lift that back leg up straight away as I turn backwards, and then just spin that last little bit until I can land on my right leg. By the time my right leg lands, I should be able to have my left foot in the air to continue the momentum to carry me around a full 360 degrees. When you're developing it, you just need to go a little bit quicker every single time, and hopefully by then you should start to get the feel of what you're trying to achieve. So again, without the hands, 1, 2. Okay, so if we concentrate on the hands, we'll do a little less jumping on the legs just until we have the upper body fixed. So the hands are always going to start out to the sides of you. They very rarely start in the center. So from here, we're going to drop the hands. We're going to take them up and over to the right. I have to take them up and behind my body to get that three-dimensional turn. So as my hands drop, I turn, and you can see that the momentum's already going to take me around backwards. So if I just continue the arc over, kind of similar to like a cartwheel, but obviously you're going to be using your legs for that. So the hands go up and round, 1, 2. Now it should be on a slight slant. As you get better at it, you can take the hands up and just use your body to twist in the middle. So I'm going to do it just a little bit quicker. So from here, 1. You can see that all you have to do is just pick up the weight from that left leg as soon as you reach that highest point. So from here, the weights drop, jump, and then that's going to continue all the way around. So if I'm doing the 360 plum blossom towards the camera, so from here, okay, you want to just keep developing it until it feels really free flowing, and you can almost just make it into one natural movement. So from here, 1, 2. The landing can be quite difficult because your momentum is carrying you along. So you might find that a lot of the times that as you do the jump, the weight finishes on that front leg. But the idea of doing the posture is that you try to maintain the weight just on that back right leg. So from here, as you jump, okay, so as soon as you're switching it onto the other side, again, the same thing applies. You want to set the weight onto the back leg. You're going to bring the weight forwards onto the front leg, drop the hands, throw, lift the back leg, step around, 1, 2. And again, just with a very slight amount of weight on that front leg. In the Bagua especially, because you're trying to land in a specific foot position on the circle, it takes a lot of control and a lot of practice. So doing them outside makes the movement a lot easier, so then you can start working the details when you're back on your circle. Okay, so at a very beginner stage, if you're practicing these, you're not too sure about how your body's going to take the movement. It's important to make sure that the hands remain in the same pattern. So still throw the hands up, but you can do this movement just by stepping, just whilst you're starting to build up your skill level and also your control throughout your body. You can start off by just stepping around, just to make sure that you've got the right feel for it. Okay, so we do come across a slightly easier version of this movement. It does exactly the same thing for health benefits, not quite so much for the physicality and the coordination of the 360, but we call it a change step plum blossom, and that means that we keep our center in the same place. If we start in the same posture that we did before, the weight's on the back leg, all I'm going to do is shift the position of my feet and take my hands out to the side and bring them round. So from the same posture here, and as you can see, it does the same thing. It lifts the energy both internally and physically. We just miss out a little bit of the coordination and the difficulty of transferring the weight through that 360 movement. Now, to do this one, it's quite a bit easier because all you need to do is shift the feet. So if you can just shift the feet on the spot, then you just need to make that movement bigger. So from here, you're going to be jumping off of your back leg. You're going to be driving up, so you lift the front leg this time, and then as the hands go up, instead of going over to one side like we would in the 360 version, we split the power and we go out to the sides. So from here, and then it's a lot easier to control the landing because my center isn't moving in any direction. Okay, so the timing for the change step plum blossom is slightly different. Because we're not moving along, we're not going to create any momentum other than moving upwards. So from this position here and the hands being forwards, you're not going to jump until both hands start to lift on the side. So as the hands drop, you're going to bring the front leg up, and then as soon as the hands begin to go above shoulder height, that's when you switch, and then the hands return to center. Again, when you want to be practicing this on both sides, especially in the bagua, because you'll be doing everything on the reverse side in every single palm change or every single form that you do, you have to do it on mirrored sides. So again, you want to set the feet, have the hands out in front of you, and then as the hands drop, and that's just going to help develop the strength in the legs and also the coordination through the body. So when you're doing your forms for Qigong, you might find that doing one of these really big movements is quite disruptive and kind of draws you out of your focus. So you're going to need to practice enough that this movement becomes a lot smaller. So you contain all the energy so you get the same kind of focus and intent, but you need a much smaller movement. When you start to work small frame and you're doing these movements, you can start to generate the power and you move a lot slower. So it's a lot harder to get your momentum to throw your body all the way over. This is why you need to start to make it very, very efficient. So in the forms, when you're coming through here, it happens a lot smaller. You have much more focus in the smaller movement, though you still want to have the same kind of internal feeling. So this is just something that will develop as you go. This is something that you should really do with all of your form postures. Practice them in isolation, so when you get to them in the middle of the form, they feel completely natural for you to flow through. So just like this posture, you want to take all of your other form postures and practice them in isolation. And that way you'll find that you can really work the details and hone in those skills so it feels incredibly natural. Everybody is going to have sticking points in their form where they get to certain postures and it doesn't feel comfortable, it doesn't quite feel right. So if you do this with every single one of your postures, whether it's a big movement like this or even a very small movement like an elbow, it gives you that time to just really focus your attention and really work on honing the details of each posture.